So I'm sitting here on my floor talking to you today about floor living and why you need to start adapting your lifestyle, creating your everyday environment that will make you sit on the floor more. I want to talk a little bit about our journey and then some tips for floor living, creating more opportunities for you to sit on the floor, why you need to do it. And we are going to finish with a free lower body class that is going to involve you learning different variations, different patterns to get up and down off the ground. Our journey to spending more time on the floor probably began around 10 years ago. I think I first watched the documentary Blue Zones and I learned about the Okinawans, and these are people who live in Okinawa. They're centennials, so they have a really high population of people who live to over 100. You may have already heard of it. Now, the Okinawans spend a lot of time, say they spend all their meals sitting on the floor, which means at least 3 times a day, they're getting up from the floor and getting back down no matter what their age is. And this is huge because you will notice that a lot of those non-Western cultures spend a lot of time in a deep squat, like actually doing things. They might be doing chores in the deep squat and they might be eating on the floor, spending different positions on the floor and really exploring different ways, but without really even thinking about it because it's just a part of the everyday life. In today's modern culture, when we are moving less, we have opportunities to sit in chairs pretty much all day, every day. We need to start blurring those lines of exercise and movement and start engineering our environment for more movement. And that is exactly what a movement lifestyle is. To go back to our story, once I got inspired to that, Marty and I moved into a new apartment and I cut the legs off our dining room table and we got some floor cushions and we started having our meals on the floor. At the same time, I tested out my deep squat and realized it needed a fair bit of work. So I gave myself a 30-day squat challenge. We've done this a few times in the A-Life, where for 30 days, you spend at least like a few minutes a day in a deep squat. And slowly over the 30 days, you try and increase that time. And so just doing that really helped my ankles, my knee mobility, and my hips as well, my back. And I was sold on spending more time on the floor. So a few things that is really important when it comes to spending more time on the floor is to have some tools that are going to encourage you to sit on the floor now. For example, right now I am sitting on a floor cushion. So I will show you what that looks like. There you go. Just a nice firm cushion. This is a Venn design cushion. I like it because it's really firm. It also looks pretty chic and it's easy to sit onto the floor. So when you sit on a cushion versus sitting directly on the floor, and I'm going to move back so you guys can see me. So if I'm sitting on the floor like this, you'll see my pelvis kind of tucks under, and in order for me to sit up straight, I really have to force my lower back up, and this kind of gives a lot of tension into my lower back. It also makes my hips really tight. So by simply elevating your hips, now having the knees under my hips, I'm in a neutral spine, but I can also free my pelvis. I'm free to move left to right. This is a really good way to start when it comes to spending more time on the floor. A really good challenge is to spend 10 minutes a day on the floor. You can move through different positions. There's a reason why the floor is less comfortable than all those ergonomic chairs that our modern society has made for us. You know, the more ergonomic and cushioned our chair is, the more it's going to numb out anything that we can feel. So, you know, when you're sitting on the floor, you might feel uncomfortable in one position, you're going to change positions. Then you're going to change positions. And so if I'm sitting on the laptop doing my work, I'm constantly changing positions, and this is literally a free mobility class just by simply changing positions and moving through when I'm listening to my body and my body is signaling to me when it's time to move. Learning how to deep squat is another key move for creating a movement lifestyle and starting to adapt floor living. So if you get to here and you get your heels and they won't go down, or maybe you get to here but you fall back, the best hack is to roll up a towel or a blanket or a yoga mat underneath your heels as much as you need and sit onto the ground in a relaxed position in your deep squat. Now it becomes a lot more comfortable because it's helping create more access to movement, more openness in my posterior chain in the back of my body, and I can stay here for longer. So again, slowly building up that time. I might read a book here, I might do some laptop work and really get my body to adapt into your deep squat. Two really good ways to spend more time on the floor more often. Our body adapts to what we do and we don't do daily. So if we sit in chairs all day, our hips are going to adapt to the length of the chair, and it's going to be tight and keeping us at 90 degrees, keeping our back shortened, keeping our muscles, our glute muscles like glorified pin cushions. They're not going to be able to work for us because we're not giving them that input to work. But if we spend time every day, just a few minutes on the floor, we're going to have to adapt to be able to get up and down off the floor. We're going to have to adapt to, you can see me talking to you right now. My knees are in deep knee flexion. I'm moving my ankles. I'm barefoot so I can feel the ground. And my body is going to adapt to be able to move in these positions more easily. You know, we often find as we get older, things become harder because we lose muscle mass and we lose flexibility. But that's if we do nothing. If we're continually and consistently showing our body, getting into these positions, the body will make sure that these positions are accessible to us, that our joints stay healthy so that we can keep doing this for life. So now I want to share with you a few ways to get up and down off the ground that's going to condition our joints, keep us strong and mobile. Let's get into it. The first one is going to be seated onto the ground, and we're going to be seated with our feet out in front of us like this. So we're in a little crab stance here. Now, what we're going to do is bring our hips off the ground. From here, we lift our right leg. So our right leg is just gonna slightly lift off the ground. From here, our left arm comes off and we pivot to a tripod stance. So this is our tripod stance with 2 feet underneath us, our hands on the ground. We bring our weight back and we stand up. Now, to reverse it, from here, I'm going to hinge my spine as far as I can. Okay, maybe it's there. Then I'm going to bend my knees. I bring my weight through my hand. Now my right leg goes through and I bring myself back. Now I know the coordination of this can be tricky to start with. Stay with it because the better we get at this pattern, the easier it becomes. So from here, I lift my bottom up. The foot comes back. I find my tripod stance, weight to my hands, to my feet, and come up. I hinge first, bend my knees, weight through the hand, and then I come back down. One more here, right leg comes up, I take it through, weight through the legs, and press up. So now let's try the other side. So we're gonna go down the same way, hinge, squat. Now my left hand goes onto the ground, weight through it, left leg goes through, and I'm on my bottom. I reverse it, left leg comes off, bring it back and up. And again, hinge, squat, hand comes down, leg goes through, whoop. And again, lift, we're weight bearing through our wrists. So important to practice as we get older. Hinge, squat, weight through the hand and through, reverse, weight through the legs and come up. Okay, how is that one for you? So let's come to something a little simpler. You're going to sit onto your knees in a little kneel here. So kneeling is a really great position for our knees, also our feet. So from here, we're going to lean forward and tuck our toes. And now this is another great position. You get a nice foot stretch, tucking the toes, coming up straight spine. From here, we're going to, and you can use your hands if you like, push yourself back for a little balance. So we're sitting onto our heels, breathing here, and then we just press straight up. I like to exhale on the hard part of the movement. So you're going to exhale and press up. Come back down to a heel elevated squat. Easy balance. Knees come down, and we're in this nice foot stretch. And then I'm going to sit down onto my bottom. Let's go again. So we come, toes tucked, nice foot stretch here. You can try this without hand. Lean back, easy balance, and then from here, press straight up. Come straight down. Nice work. Soft knees as you come down. Toe stretch. Sit down onto your heels and rest. Let's go again. Tuck the toes. So you can see how much this is working our feet and our ankles. Whoop. Balance, hold, press straight up through those ankles. Come back down, balance. Knees down, toes tucked. Untuck the feet and sit. Should we go for one more? Let's get it in. Tuck the toes, foot stretch. Weight back, balance. Pressing up. Woo! Come back down. Soft knees. Untuck the toes and come down. Awesome. All right, the last one is a Z sit. Another great position to explore when you are on the floor, because we have one leg external rotation, one hip internal rotation. So switch, try the other side. Internal rotation and external rotation. So you might want to warm up the hips here, simply moving side to side a few times. Nice tall spine. If it's too much, you can just use your hands, use your fingertips, and keep them down. So much great input for our hips and our knees. So from here, we're in a Z sit. We're going to press up. So you're going to press through your hips and lift the hips up so our glutes are engaging. We're still in external and internal rotation, and we come down. This is the first step. So you can try this one here first, getting the hips active, up and down, over, up and down. Next step, to get to standing, we go over. You're going to come up to your Z sit. Now the back leg is going to come forward. And now there's nothing wrong with using your environment to help you. As long as you're staying aware of your body, you can tuck the back toe and press straight up and bring the legs together. We can reverse, we step back, lower the knee down, take the front foot to the back, Z sit, and then sink the hips, Z sit. Change sides, over, nice. Lift up, back leg comes to the front again. I can use a little piece of wool and I can press up. And I reverse, I come down, lower the knee, front foot comes to the back, here, and I sink on down. Should we do a few each side? So I go over, lift, back leg comes to the front. And if you get confused, it's normal. A lot of this work, and especially the stuff we teach, coordination is a big part of it, but that gets our brain and body working. So if your brain gets confused, that's good. It means we're learning something new. Bring it to the front and press up. And we go again on the way back. Bring it to the back and down. Awesome work, team. So I hope you enjoyed those movements. A lot of the time, a really good way to practice is to choose a variation. Maybe you're going to just practice going from, let's say this way. This is a little half kneel. Maybe you're going to press up and down. We're going to practice getting up off the floor like this. And you can set a timer and run through the different variations. from side left to right, and practice within that timer. So let's set a minute. I'm going to do a few different variations, and I'm going to move from one to the other. So that's a really nice way to get more input, more patterns in our body, about learning how to get up off the ground so we can stop complaining about it. Make it easy. You can play with your kids. They play on the floor all the time. So it's a really important thing to learn and keep up and practice as we get older. If you enjoyed this video, enjoyed the tips and tricks and classes, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps us be able to put out more content for you guys. We appreciate it. Let us know how you went, and I look forward to moving with you soon.